Welcome to the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point. I'm Amanda Renner, Max Starks. Well, all three preseason games are in the books, and the Pittsburgh Steelers leave with 3 straight victories. You just saw the only touchdown for the Steelers right there. Mitch Trubisky connecting with Steven Sims. An incredibly impressive, I would say, at least second half, Max. But
yes.
Overall, when you take a look at all 3 of these games, what's your biggest takeaway from game 1 to today?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway that I take is that all 3 of these quarterbacks have performed admirably. I know we didn't see Mason Rudolph today, but you look at what Mitch Trubisky did, and I thought he composed himself with his first 2-minute drill of this game, executing, driving down the field, 6 straight completions in a row, ending with the Steven Sims touchdown, and that touchdown proved to be the biggest touchdown of the game.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin wasn't really opening up his playbook for us to tell us how much we were going to see each guy, but we saw plenty of Mitch Trubisky all through that entire first half, and then we saw Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph coming in with just about 7 minutes to go, right?
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter. So let's take a look at what Mitch Trubisky did so well today.
Well, I think
this is the Heinz QB analysis. Sorry.
Yeah,
Max.
so when you look at that was a little bit early. He was rattled a little bit early, trying to hit guys, throwing a little bit behind them. Gunnar Olszewski, that one was an over the inside shoulder and then comes back to the outside shoulder. But then he kind of settles down, finds George Pickens there for a nice 14-yard gainer. But this Fryer move, this is the play that set up that 2-minute drive. Nice 32-yard completion down the end, and then, of course, a 6-yard touchdown pass to Steven Sims to cap off the 2-minute drive.
Yeah, I know Mitch Trubisky would have liked to have scored a little bit more, but, hey, you got the job done. And we did see a couple of starters that we haven't seen yet in this preseason. So we want to ask you to take to social media and tell us who your player of really this entire preseason was. Which player or position group impressed you the most during preseason? Use hashtag SNUProud, and we will be sure to share those answers later on in the show. This is, of course, our Pepsi social media post, because Steelers watching is always better with Pepsi. Okay, we will be right back after this on the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point. Stay tuned. The Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point is presented by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. Steeler Nation, the start of our 2022 regular season is just a few weeks away. You don't want to miss cheering on the black and gold at Acrisure Stadium this year, and now is the time to get your tickets. Visit Steelers.com/tickets for more information. All right, Max, now let's take a look at some of these highlights. There was a decent amount of them. Starting off here with Mitch Trubisky connecting with Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, the connection on a 38-yard, just down the sideline 9 route. Great job hauling it in, pulling the ball in under double coverage. This is what you wanted to see early and often. And, of course, this is something we also saw a lot of. The leg of Chris Boswell this game. And I thought he did a great job in a lot of bad situations. And then, of course, Cam Sutton coming with the interception. We talked about in the pregame show. KZ was hoping to get one of those, but Cam Sutton sits down in the zone, reads David Blau, and then just absolutely runs it back, putting the team in a position then for another score. Cam Sutton definitely had a nice game today, and a lot of the starters did.
Absolutely. And now you hear, well, you're going to hear this one anytime Freiermuth, that's right, gets that Heath Miller treatment, and Pat Freiermuth will tell you how much he loves that type of respect shown by these Steelers fans. But listen, this could be something we probably see a lot, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely one of those. You saw the deep seam route by Freiermuth, which set up that Steven Sims touchdown to end the half with a nice 2-minute drill for Mitch Trubisky. Now all 3 quarterbacks do have the 2-minute drill. Miles Boykin, big body, 6'3", 245. Kenny Pickett gives him a back shoulder throw. Miles Boykin turns inside out, pulls his best George Pickens impersonation and makes the kick in. And then there we go, the 54-yarder for Chris Boswell. He's got plenty of leg. We call him the Wizard of Oz for a reason. It's because he can nail 50-yarders with consistency.
Hey, listen, in the beginning of our pre-show, we talked about the wide receivers on the bubble, and we saw those guys make big plays. So Mike Tomlin, this coaching staff, still doesn't have a lot of easy decisions ahead of them. But when you take a look at these stats, what jumps out to you? This is JP Roofing final stats.
Well, I think one of the biggest ones, rushing yards. That's one that's disappointing when you know the Steelers want to be able to run the ball. And you had some quality runs by Anthony McFarland and Jalen Warren. And, of course, seeing Najee Harris with his first action. I know that'll change. But the other thing, look at the total yards by the Lions. Not getting off the field and not being able to stop drives. And then, of course, the penalties. It was a flag fest. That's why this game went so long today. I mean, between that 21 accepted penalties. There was a couple denied, but 21 accepted penalties is not good enough.
It is not, and that is probably going to be something that both teams highlight a lot in practice after this, right?
Absolutely.
All right, next up we have our Heinz QB analysis, and we are going to take a look at what these quarterbacks were doing. Actually, we're going to start out with Kenny Pickett because we didn't get a chance to talk about Kenny Pickett. Merrill Hodge talked about him during the pregame, so we're going to get a chance to talk about him right now and see what he did. Okay, so Kenny Pickett took it out in the second half, Max.
Yeah, he did. Took it out in the second half, and great job there on the play action, hitting on a nice in route to Gunnar Olszewski, and then just throwing, we saw this earlier, the Miles Boykin play, throwing the back shoulder for paid.
To me, what's so impressive with Kenny Pickett is how he's built chemistry so quickly, not only with veteran wide receivers, but with the new guys as well. That just has to scream leadership to you, right?
It does, and it shows confidence and being able to be versatile, I think, in whatever situation you're given and playing with it.
All right, we will be right back after this with more from our post-game show. Once again, the Steelers, they are 3-0 in 2022 preseason, taking down the Detroit Lions. And Steeler fans are still hanging out, waving those terrible towels. You love to see it at Acrisure Stadium. Steelers preseason football is brought to you by Xfinity, unbeatable internet, made to do anything so you can do anything. Let's check in now with the head coach, Mike Tomlin, who never disappoints when it comes to great sound bites.
You know, excited about putting together a plan and executing it and seeing some of the characteristics of that. It's good to win. Obviously, some negative things I thought early in the game, we were settling for field goals when we were getting a short field from an offensive perspective. And, you know, you can't do that in September, man. That usually bites you. And so we got some things to address there. I thought there were a couple third and longs that we let them off the hook in the first half. That draw on 3rd and 12 was painful. We got to be more aware in them type circumstances. Those were negative things that kind of caught my attention. A lot of positive things to build upon. It was good to get Mitch a 2-minute drive. He hadn't had that exposure, and we had talked about that earlier in the week, and it was good to get the execution there. It would like it to have been more challenging from a timeout perspective, but we got what we were looking for, obviously. A couple guys weren't able to finish the game due to injury. The guys that you'll be asking about, Deontay and TJ, we don't expect that to be serious. Maybe they could have come back into the game had it been different circumstances and so forth. But we'll monitor those guys and evaluate them and proceed from there. KZ's injury could be described as more serious. He's been evaluated now, and it makes his availability in the near future questionable. But that's part of the game. It was good to get back in the stadium, get back into the confines of our home stadium and perform in front of our fans. And, you know, now we turn our attention to our next opportunity, which is September 11th football. I'll pause and open it up for questions.
Like the offensive line seemed to be struggling some early, maybe gained some footing in the second quarter. Is that how you saw it?
You know, I'll judge it after I watched the tape. I thought they were better today largely. I thought we were penalized some, and that put us behind the chains some. But I'll take a look at the tape before I pass judgment.
Mike, were you going to use your first-team offense the whole first half, or did you just want to keep using them to see something?
Again, like I told you guys, I was going to leave them in there until I got to a level of comfort in terms of what I wanted to see. Getting Mitch in that group an opportunity to execute 2-minute was a major component, and so we got that.
Mike, do you have a starting quarterback?
We've seen every quarterback, when they find themselves in the 2-minute drill, execute beautifully. Mitch Trubisky, no exception there. Here is our RE/MAX game summary. Take a look at this. Mitch Trubisky, 15 of 19, 160 yards, and, of course, that touchdown to Steven Sims that we showed you in the first half. Mike Tomlin saying he is pleased with Mitch Trubisky's performance. All right, we will be right back after this for more from your post-game winning Steelers performance. celebrate the start of the football season at the Kickoff and Rib Festival presented by Miller Lite at Acrisure Stadium September 1st through the 5th. Admission is free and there is something for everyone. Enjoy national rib vendors, football, music, activities, and more. Visit acrissurestadium.com/ribfest for all of the details. Max, I have a feeling you have never missed a Rib Fest. That sounds right up your alley.
It is. I love it every year.
All right, these Steeler fans are going crazy. You got to love it. Remember, we asked you at the top of the show, which player or position group impressed you the most during preseason? And here we go. Jesse, defense and offense, they both gave them all they got. Okay,
that's very diplomatic.
Yeah, that's very diplomatic. Wide receiver group as a whole, it's going to be hard to narrow them down for the 53-man roster. Kyla's 100% right there.
I like it, Kyla.
Oh, Tyler Vaughn's 100%.
Yeah, Ezra. Okay, I see you, Ezra, giving it to him.
DeMarvin Leal. Listen, that's a guy that you've been a huge fan of this whole time.
I have. And he had a nice big play in this game, too.
Yes, he did. Listen, the guys that have had to prove themselves during these games have certainly done just that. Now it's time for you to prove yourself, Max, because I asked you during pregame. You were 0 for 3 in this last week. Yeah. Let's see how you did this week. You took the over on 2.7 defensive sacks.
Boom.
Check. Rushing yards, 104.5. Nope. And more passing yards, Trubisky or Pickett. You said Trubisky. Boom.
2 for 3.
That's it. Okay, now before we sign off here, give me one quick thought. What were you most impressed with today?
I was impressed with quarterbacks, once again, being very efficient with the ball, and also the wide receivers. Continue to make it tougher. The Yins chat was true. It's going to be tough to make that decision. All
right. Thank you so much for joining us here from our entire Steelers production team. Thanks for watching the Neighborhood Ford Store Steelers Extra Point presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Enjoy your weekend.